For I have learned to look on nature, not as in the hour of thoughtless youth, but hearing oftentimes the still, sad music of humanity, not harsh nor grating, though of ample power to chasten and subdue. And I have felt a presence that disturbs me with the joy of elevated thoughts, a sense sublime of something far more deeply interfused, whose dwelling is the light of setting suns, and the round ocean, and the living air, and the blue sky, and in the mind of man, a motion and a spirit that impels all thinking things, all objects of all thought, and rolls through all things. This is a passage taken from a poem by William Wordsworth, Tintern Abbey. This was a poem that I discovered in my teen years, and it is one of William Wordsworth's most famous, celebrated poems. It reflects deeply his perception of nature and how he finds spirituality in nature. Being exposed to Wordsworth's poetry led me to understand for the first time pantheism and come to know pantheism for myself in practice. Some of these words within this poem really do resonate with me as I take time in one of the most sacred places in my life. This is our local woodlands, and I come here a lot, as you may have seen in many of my videos. I come here to connect to the spirit of place and the spirit of the land spirits, as well as to connect with individual tree spirits and plant and animal allies. What have you found? Oh. It's really just a beautiful place to come, to meditate, to connect, for that companionship and communion with nature. And the spirit of the tree said, "Listen softly and be still. Believe that you are worthy, and say, I believe I'm worthy. I am worthy, and trust, and follow my heart and my happiness. Follow what I love, do what I love, surround myself with that which I love." It's something that I've felt for as long as I can remember to be highly sacred to me, and a massive part of my spiritual practice and my spiritual beliefs and paradigm. I'm going to visit with you for a little bit. You may have heard me talk a little bit about thaumaturgy and theurgy in my videos before, and whilst I've not done a dedicated video on this, it's something I would like to do. So I've stopped. I'm just listening to the land spirits, the spirits of place, genius loci. Sat here with this beautiful European beach, who I have visited with a few times, connected with, and it's been a place of refuge for me. So I've made some offerings and sat with the tree spirit for a little bit, and now I'm sitting on a very uncomfortable stump. Whilst I don't think that this stump is alive any longer, I believe there may be spirits residing within it. I am listening. I have long contemplated the idea of theism and what my beliefs are, because I do connect to and have practices which involve relationship to and communion with other spiritual entities, including deities, as well as spirits of place and land and plant allies, as well as spirits who I've met astrally and through journey, who have become known to me, servitors and entities to work with. For those who are not familiar with the term pantheist or pantheism, the term is defined in Merriam-Webster as a doctrine that equates God with the forces and laws of the universe, as well as the worship of all gods of different creeds, cults, or peoples indifferently. The toleration of worship of all gods. It's the belief that God is one with the universe, or it's the same, and everything is part of one single, all one whole. It comes from the Greek word pan, meaning all, and theos, meaning God. It differs from the term animism, which is defined in the Oxford Dictionary as the attribution of a living soul to plants, inanimate objects and natural phenomena, as well as a belief in a supernatural power which organises and animates the material universe. Animism is considered to be one of the oldest religions, which played a fundamental role in the beliefs and practices of our ancestors going far back, and connects to shamanism. Whilst I'm not a religious scholar or theologian, I have pondered these thoughts for many, many years, and I have studied academic texts, especially around philosophy and belief and spirituality, and so I do feel that pondering upon these has been part of my practice and evolution. In terms of the differences between pantheism and animism, the main difference is that pantheism defines the belief that God and earth are the same and everything is part of one spiritual essence, all. Whereas animism is a belief that all things in the world, including animals, plants, rocks, trees, the weather, all have a source of anima, meaning life or soul.
Coco, you okay? You okay, darling? Ah, fairy bells.
Whilst many do feel that the two are at odds, I definitely feel that I resonate with both, and that's my prerogative. I do feel that way, and I feel that in places such as this, I can feel that I am connected to the whole, as well as each individual being having a spirit that is separate, but we are all one simultaneously. And I find that over the years, many spiritual truths have come to me through a variety of different means, and much of that in practice, on the ground, with the land, with my feet in the earth, sitting on the earth, getting dirty, hands in the earth, holding trees, being in nature, being by the beach, being by the sea, feet in the sea. These are some of the ways that I have found myself deeply connected to a sense of spirit and all, and understanding more of that and what it means to me in my practice.
The yew tree said, "You're protected. You are not alone." You're given an offering in the form of blood. There's the tree. Oh, wow. I didn't see you before. This was the doorway to this liminal ancient wood I was invited in. And what I felt was just extreme exhaustion. And I felt that it was somewhere I didn't belong. But nonetheless, I was welcome and protected. And that is what this tree said to me before I entered. "Grandmother, I wish I could rest there. But life is so busy," so I heard, "Stop. Say what you need. Do what you need." And here we are, back on the path. 5th white feather. That is the 7th white feather, and this is the 8th.
I have also come to understand spiritual truths via a sense of awe and majesty and beauty and gratitude being in the world and being able to experience that and being embodied here in this physical reality to experience that and seeing that as a gift in itself. Part of feeling that, experiencing that beauty and joy in every day and that truth and wonder, beauty, truth, beauty. I have experienced much ecstatic union with deity, spirit, via art.
It's a beautiful oak tree.
Many forms of art, fine art and painting and the physical act of creating art, as well as reading great works of poetry, analysing great works of poetry and great works of literature, and allowing myself to assimilate some of those profound lessons and musings through my own dreams, and then writing all that down, speaking it out loud and doing it all again, and being in places of power such as this.
It's the 9th, the 10th. 10 so far. I said I was feeling lonely, and then I find the meadow sweet. I really don't want to take this away because there's not a lot, but it smells beautiful.
It literally smells of marzipan.
This is where I go to cross the hedge.
What I mean by that is via a process where I have formed a connection with this land and the spirits residing within the land, as well as the trees and the spirits of place. I have practiced meditations in this space, and I have then connected astrally to this space and crossed the hedge astrally, as well as coming back physically.
It's pretty private out here. This tree is just gorgeous. I really feel the liminal here, like eldritch powers of the other world, and it's really nice to be here. Yeah, it feels really far away from anyone else.
I feel a deep sense of reverence when I am in these woods, when I am in any place in nature. I feel that I am within God's church, and I don't mean God in a Christian sense or a patriarchal, orthodox, kind of personified man in the sky way. I mean that idea of source, energy and love, compassion, beauty, soul, spirit, all residing as a whole within the earth and within us, and then all of those things being interconnected whilst also being separate. A large part of my practice, especially during really challenging times, is engaging in acts of devotion and communion and worship, for want of a better word, in sacred places such as this, being able to sit in silence and to connect, to commune and to make offerings with sacred reciprocity, approaching the spirits with respect and reverence, and just spending time in this space, taking care of this space, stewarding the land. And it's a huge, huge part of how I see my role playing out within the land that I'm on. Here is where I find so much magic and inspiration, joy and comfort and stability, peace, calm, quiet, reflection, and I absolutely love coming here. Being in natural spaces such as forests, woodlands, by the ocean, in those liminal spaces as well, is where I feel closest to God, to source energy, and to the divine. And it's not that the divine isn't in those other places, but it feels like such a beautiful place to connect in. And I understand that a lot of people are unable to access some of these places. So I want to speak to that, the fact that this place, this space, this sacred, beautiful, whole space of nature is also within you, and you can go inwards to find this space. You don't even have to close your eyes because it's within you right now. You can simply put your hand over your heart and reflect on that knowing that you are part of the divine, if it is a paradigm indeed that you wish to align with. It's not exclusive. It's not in any way dogmatic. It just is. I find it extremely beautiful, joyous, ecstatic, and very natural, actually. Reading William Wordsworth was, I think, a doorway into something that I had known to be true for so long, and then understanding it in practice alongside some of the teachings and wisdoms that I learnt after stepping through that doorway for me in my teenage years was such a beautiful and profound experience. I would absolutely recommend you to go to a natural place if you have one near you and if you are able to access it. Many National Trust places here in England do have accessible paths and facilities as well, so that is a really amazing resource. I still know that many places are not easy to access, and so I will also mention there is a beautiful essay in the book The Modern Craft by Alice Tarbuck and Claire Askew. There is a beautiful essay within there about just that.
Just getting distracted by watching a spider dance in the grass.
Connecting to and accessing spirit when you are unable to go to places such as which I describe and show and share here.
We found number 13 and number 14, number 15 and 16 and 17 and 18. Perfect acorns. There are so many of these. They're so protective, but also I think of them as a blessing of abundance and good luck. So that's what I'm going to be taking with me. We found 19, 20 and a big one. And we found 21. Oh, and 22 and 23. And this is 24 and 25, 26. There are a lot of white feathers. And there is 27.
Thank you for joining me for this rambly spirit walk video in my local woodlands in the forest, and for this little chat about poetry by Wordsworth and animism and pantheism, connecting to the land and the spirits of place, as well as individual plant and tree spirits, and just what a practice can look like on the ground and how that can be magical and how it can feed into your life in so many ways. And I really hope that you've enjoyed it. Please do like, share, subscribe, leave me a comment below. I'd love to hear how you connect to local land spirits, and if there's anything that you took away from this video, I'd love to hear as well. Also, if you've got any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer and maybe create a video around any topics that are of interest. So thank you so much for joining me. You'll find all of my links below for Instagram, Patreon, and an old TikTok page, as well as listed on screen. Take care of yourselves, stay well, and I look forward to seeing you again in another video really soon. Many blessings. Bye.
I believe I am worthy. I am worthy.